Do you really believe that these people are eating the people's pets?
And eating other things too.
This is where we are. This is our election. Welcome to America. An undecided Latino voter who's actually a longtime registered Republican asked Donald Trump about some of his rhetoric in regard to immigration and specifically the Haitian community in Springfield, Ohio. This was during a Univision town hall. Now, Trump's response didn't inspire any confidence that his divisive rhetoric is going to change anytime soon. We're going to get to his answer in a second. But first, let me read the question that was asked by the undecided voter. He asks, the authorities in Springfield, Ohio, more than one time clarified that the Haitians are not eating their cats and their dogs. Nonetheless, you want to revoke the permanent, basically the visa they have to legally reside in the country. Do you really believe that these people are eating the people's pets? Now, here is how Donald Trump responded.
This was just reported. I was just saying what was reported. That's been reported, and eating other things too that they're not supposed to be. But this is all I do is report. I have not. I was there. I'm going to be there, and we're going to take a look. And I'll give you a full report when I do. But that's been in the newspapers and reported pretty broadly.
He's just a reporter, guys. He's just a reporter. I mean, he heard reports and then he repeats the reports. He doesn't look into it. He doesn't question anything that, might sound a little outlandish, because if he has an opportunity to demagogue and engage in incredibly gross, inaccurate, false, hateful rhetoric that's going to direct hatred toward innocent people who, by the way, are not in the country illegally. These are Haitian migrants who have temporary protected status. Okay, the United States government implemented the protected status for Haitians after there was a devastating earthquake in Haiti, and after some of our foreign policy kind of destroyed their country as well. And the idea that they're being demonized like this, and he just won't stop. He won't stop. Later in his answer, he brings up like relevant points. And if he had started with that, I would be fine with it, right? If he didn't go as low as making up these dumb stories, hateful stories that direct hatred toward innocent people, I'd be fine with it. But he can't do it, Cenk. He has to go this low and he has to continue. Like, he never apologizes, he never recalibrates, he continues on with the garbage, and I can't stand it.
Yeah, so there's two things in that answer and even in the question that are so important to the substance of this issue, and I want to come back to them in a second. But guys, what are we doing here? I mean, I watched Kamala Harris interview on Fox News, and she was relatively smooth. She didn't answer a couple of the questions that really annoyed me that she didn't answer some of those questions. But then you turn to Trump, and he's like an escaped mental patient, right? And he's like, they're eating the cats, the dogs. They say the dogs are hot, but I don't know. Now they're eating other things like the tuna and the salmon. And I hear the Japanese are joining them. They're eating the tuna and the salmon too. They're calling it sushi, okay? And then they're taking the chicken and they're eating their eggs.
Raw.
They're eating it raw. It's disgusting. It's crazy. We've got to kick them out of here, okay?
They don't even cook it.
And they take the pigs and the cows and they even eat them.
Sometimes,
and they put them together and they call it a hamburger. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Okay. Sometimes they bury the pig to roast it.
Okay.
In the dirt.
Those are Hawaiians, we're kicking them out. Sir, they're Americans. I don't care because I just escaped and this feels like freedom to me. Thank God I got that white coat off of me. Okay, so look, should you vote for the mental patient? I don't know, I say put him back in, but anyways. They're trying to imprison him. No, it's an analogy. All right, anyways. And he's just reporting it, guys. He's just reporting it. Every reporter has said it's not true. Every Republican in the area, the mayor, etc., have said it's not true. So why are you still reporting things that are untrue? That's because you're lying. We have a word for it. Okay.
Lying.
Exactly. I'm saying it like Trump so you can understand it.
Okay, so, go ahead, Cenk. Did you have something else?
Yeah, I wanted to get to the substance of it.
Yeah, so the second half of his response to this, again, Republican voter who's probably undecided in this election because he doesn't like the divisive crap that Trump is saying, right? But in the second half of his answer, he brings up some of the legitimate concerns, right? It's not demonizing the migrants, but there is a problem when you have a massive influx of people coming into a small town without the federal government providing the support that the town needs. That is a legitimate concern. So let's hear what Trump had to say.
As far as Springfield is concerned, because I do know that situation, you have a city of 52,000 people, and they've added almost 30,000 migrants into the city. If you were a person that lived there, if you lived in Springfield, Ohio, and all of a sudden you couldn't get into a hospital, you couldn't get your children into a school, you wouldn't be able to buy groceries, you could no longer pay the rent because the government's paying rent, any of that, if any of that happened, it would be a disaster for you, and you wouldn't be happy. We want to make our people safe and secure, and we want to make them happy. But Springfield, Ohio is a perfect example. You have a town, a beautiful little town with no problems. All of a sudden, they have 30 or 32,000 people dropped into the town.
Okay, so is it a little under 30,000? Is it 30 to 32,000? Like, notice that the numbers change, and let's actually put it side by side. Let's take a look at the next video.
You have a city of 52,000 people, and they've added almost 30,000 migrants into the city. You have a town, a beautiful little town with no problems. All of a sudden, they have 30 or 32,000 people dropped into the town.
Okay, interesting. Well, prior to this, the number was lower when he was speaking about it. Let's take a look at that.
In Springfield, Ohio, 20,000 illegal Haitian migrants have descended upon a town of 58,000 people, destroying their way of life. They've destroyed the place.
So notice how in the town hall, he exaggerates the number of Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio, because it doesn't matter. The facts don't really matter. This is an issue that he doesn't really seem all that interested in learning about and finding solutions for. It is a campaign issue for him. It worked for him in 2016. He's hoping it's gonna work for him now. And in the meantime, you have both migrants who are struggling and you have communities that are struggling. I actually do care about the people in Springfield, Ohio. I do think that it is difficult for a small town to take in a massive influx of migrants without help from the federal government. But we never find solutions to immigration because if we're all being honest, not a single politician actually cares about solving the issue once and for all. Not a single politician wants to reform immigration. A lot of these Republicans who purport to care so much about this issue are taking bribes, legal bribes from their campaign donors who do not want anything to be done about immigration because they love exploiting that cheap labor that they can pay even lower than minimum wage because they don't have the ability to go complain about it to the authorities. That's what the reality of this situation really is. And it disgusts me that whenever the campaigns start, this type of gross rhetoric demonizing innocent people pops up. I don't like it, it's divisive, and it is not helpful at all in terms of finding solutions for any problems we might have.
Okay, so he said illegal Haitian immigrants, but as the questioner pointed out, they actually do have legal status. So that's a fact, that's not arguable. So Trump's proposal, so actually before I explain Trump's proposal, Anna's proposal you just heard, which is, hey, if the federal government is going to put 20,000 immigrants in a town of 58,000, let's take Trump's original numbers, right? That's still a big number, and the federal government should help that town adjust. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to have some issues, right?
Of course.
And so that's a reasonable position to take. That's a position I hope all of us take so that it's not all on the residents of Springfield, right? Now, Trump's position is not that. Trump's position is take away their legal status. And that was the exact question that gentleman asked. He said, you say this conspiracy story about the pets and the being eaten, and then you said, so I'm going to take away their legal status. Are you really going to take away their legal status? And that's actually a really important question for a lot of people that live in this country, because a lot of people have green cards and temporary legal residence, and they haven't done anything wrong. They're not illegal at all, right? But and people have family members that are in that category. And Trump is now saying, if I make up a story that isn't even true at all and use that story, I could take away your legal rights. Well, that's concerning. I mean, that guy's a lifelong Republican that asked the question, but he's concerned about that, right? And that is a very legitimate concern. And Trump is saying, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. You got legal rights? I don't care at all. If you're an immigrant, I'm gonna say you're illegal. I'm just gonna strip you of your rights. And by the way, when he was in office the first time, yeah, he got checked by the establishment and they put some brakes in his car, but he had suggested, and Stephen Miller had suggested, well, even if you're already a US citizen, if you came from another country, are you really a citizen? So they're even thinking of taking birthright citizenship away. So this is not hyperbole. Stephen Miller suggested it. You could look it up. So what he's proposing is terrible. And if you actually care about immigration, which Anna does, I do, and so many people on the right and the left do, well then this is the one thing Kamala Harris is definitely right about. Why did he prevent the bill that everyone agrees to, that an Oklahoma Republican wrote, that actually is largely, it should be embarrassing to the Democrats, is not only a completely Republican bill, it's largely Trump's ideas. And he said, vote no, I don't want the problem fixed because I want to use it in my campaign. He's a terrible guy who only thinks about himself. He doesn't care about the laws. He doesn't care about breaking the laws. He just cares about power. And finally, the guy was using an interpreter, just to be clear, right? He speaks Spanish better than he speaks English, guy asking the question. And Trump, in the middle of his crazed answer about how he's going to take away their legal status, etc., said, you know, that's terrible. A lot of people, they don't even speak the language and you can't talk to them. And then they have to bring in all these interpreters, it's terrible. The guy was using an interpreter for the question.
Yeah, I'm sure he definitely persuaded the individual to vote for Trump in the election. I mean, it's just, look, it's amazing because I actually think it would be even more difficult to beat Donald Trump if he had a little bit of self-control. But he doesn't have self-control.
Oh my God, if he had self-control, he'd be up by 10, easy. I mean, first of all, if he had self-control, he wouldn't have done January 6th and try to murder his own vice president and try to terminate the Constitution and send in an angry mob to attack our Capitol. And we're still having a conversation, and the Democrats are still losing to him by a little bit right now. At best case scenario, they're tied right now to that guy. And the Democrats don't realize that they have a problem. They think everything's hunky-dory.
No, they do think they have a problem. They think their problem is Jill Stein.
Jesus Christ, guys, man. Democrats do better. You should be blowing this guy out. He's an escaped mental patient. And if you're tied with him, well, you gotta fix your own problems. Good luck to us in doing that because the establishment never ever wants to do that. And Republicans, if you wanna win an election, try someone non-insane for a change. I know, a radical thought, but you'd win fairly easily in this context with a super weak Democratic Party. Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.